me wanna holler, go away. I need more peace and hope and love. Where do I find it in this crazy old world? I need strategies, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Every time I listen, Lauren and David share strategies for living, and it makes me aware. I got strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab.
You know we need them. Yeah, we need those strategies, don't we? Those strategies for living. Are you ready? You ready for your daily dose of radio rehab?
You know, I thought I was ready, and then you dragged this life strategist in on us.
Yeah.
I better get ready.
Yeah, you better get ready.
Hi, guys.
Hey, folks, welcome into Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillan, and you've heard Lauren Leon McMillan, psychotherapist, PLPC, and Jay Murrell.
PLPC.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. I thought we could say that.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
You know, the long and winding road.
Dun, dun, dun.
They don't let us do that. You
They
know,
don't. That's probably good,
the station
yeah.
manager is calling right now saying stop.
Copyright.
Stop it.
Yeah, or something.
Or something like that. You know, Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will control you, and you will call it fate.
Right.
No such thing.
You know, that is
My opinion.
That, yeah, I mean, you know, Carl Jung. You know, you can't. You know, he wasn't talking about horoscopes.
No.
He and you know.
Although he did stretch into some.
Well, yeah.
At the time, what was considered kind of perhaps even woo-woo at the time. I think
maybe
he
so.
Stretched.
Maybe so, but time has proven that Dr. Jung knew a thing or two, and we're going to talk today about 6 dangerous types of people that Carl Jung said you have to avoid, because what you tolerate teaches others how to treat you.
Right.
So there you go. I think we've got a program packed full today.
I think we do. Everybody should listen up. You might have somebody in your life that's a joy stealer.
There you go.
Or something else.
You never know.
Yeah.
Folks, we appreciate you being here with us on Strategies for Living, and we appreciate our sponsors making it possible. The Robinson Film Center, and Azalea Cleaners, and Pintail Roofing.
Roof.
And Learning RX, and the Balanced Life Wellness Center, and Fertitas Delicatessen, home of The Godfather, alligator Italian sausage, and some pretty good muffies, too. Back in a moment. 6 dangerous people Carl Jung says we need to stay away from. That's today on Strategies for Living.
Lauren, Jay, and David will find a way to help you out most every day. They help us think healthy and make us smile too. They bring out the strategies just for you. Strategies for Living Radio. Strategies for Living Radio.
And welcome into Strategies for Living Radio with Lauren and Jay and David. We are glad that you are with us, talking today about Carl Jung and his wonderful work. You know, what he said was, until you make the unconscious conscious, it'll control you. You'll call it fate, but it'll control you.
Mhm.
And, you know, he was telling us that, that if we don't take the moments, if we don't take the time to observe what is manifesting in our lives, then you will spend most of our life wondering why things have happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Sort of the idea that life happens to me.
Yeah.
Right? And
Instead of for me. Yeah.
Right. Instead
Yeah.
of recognizing that I'm the vehicle through which life can happen.
And you know, Carl Jung did not leave a checklist, if you will. But if you read a lot of his work,
Mhm.
and you know, I know that the two of you have probably read a thing or two,
Little bit,
recently
here and
about Jung here and there. That you can really kind of break down into 6 categories, if you will. 6 categories that you may want to stop giving the benefit of the doubt to. And so we'll talk about individuals that you may want to beware of, types of individuals.
I'm being real picky here.
Okay.
Can we change that maybe from individuals to, let's use a good Jung term, archetype?
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I like that.
I really don't like the idea of kind of plastering an entire individual as toxic or not good, right? And I mean, if we replace that with archetype, that means that we can also find these traits within ourselves as well.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean that we're bad or
Right.
not good as a whole. It just means, oh, that's a warning sign if I see this archetype within me emerging.
Right.
Perhaps.
I like that. I like that. And I think Dr. Jung would
think
give
he'd
you a gold
approve?
star. I think
I think you would.
I think he would approve. Well, one of the first categories, I guess, archetypes, if you will,
Mhm.
are individuals who tend to play the victim.
Yeah.
You know, we're not talking about just people who are suffering. You know,
No, because life
Life is-
does happen.
life is difficult,
Bad things,
yeah.
unfortunate things do happen.
yeah.
But it's about, how are you choosing to respond to that?
So what perhaps we're referring to are the ones that turn things around, and you know, from how they were treated every single time, and make it about them.
Yeah.
Poor me, right? Poor
Yeah.
pitiful me.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a terrible way to live.
yeah. They never seem to strike the matches, but oddly enough, they sit in the ashes.
That's a good way
And
to
if
put it.
you're playing the victim constantly, doesn't that kind of remove the responsibility for examining your own behavior and your contribution to the situation?
I think that's
Absolutely.
right on target.
Well, and it
Jay.
removes freedom. It removes your own personal power and
Yeah.
freedom.
Yeah.
You
But-
said it better, but I was trying to say that.
Well,
Thanks.
I think they go hand in hand.
No,
I think
they
it's
do.
both.
And you know, people who do this, it can be exhausting. You know, you start handling their emotions as if it's your part-time job. I mean, in other words,
Well-
you know, we talk about the victim triangle, right?
Right. There it is.
And you can look this concept. There's a lot on it online. The victim's triangle. It's also called
Cartman.
Cartman's triangle. It could be called the victim's trap. It
The
goes
drama
by
triangle.
drama triangle.
Yeah.
But basically, it's getting caught in this triangle where on one point victim is located, on
Right.
another point rescuer is located, and on the third point of the triangle,
Persecutor.
perpetrator is, or persecutor, perpetrator or
Either one.
persecutor
Yep.
is located. And the trap is just exactly what Dr. Jung was referring to, was we get unconsciously caught.
Yeah, you get hooked real quick.
You get hooked very quickly into that triangle, and you, of course,
and it becomes a wheel, doesn't it? It becomes a hamster wheel once you get on it.
It truly does. It truly does, and it's like you don't even talk about making it, making the unconscious conscious. We don't even know we're doing it. We don't even know we're in the trap, right?
No.
And
I mean, because we see it play out in all forms. And if you watch any sort of media or television, you're going to see the drama triangle unfold before you. And so it's almost like the fish in water analogy. We don't even know until we step back and look at it for what it is.
And our egos are almost, I'm going to use the word addicted to this.
Sure.
I mean, we're pulled into it. I mean, how many movies, how many reads? I mean, this is summertime, so a lot of people are finding their beach read, right? How many reads do we find that have as the hook the victim triangle, if you will? Somebody
or
hapless.
it could be reframed as a lover's triangle, right?
Sure.
It's reframed many different ways.
The hapless victim and Prince Charming or Princess Charming coming to the rescue. And of course, if you've got the victim and you've got the rescuer, you also have that dun 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 dun
perpetrator.
The perpetrator, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, our ego self loves the juice of this. And, and I think it pervades all the areas of our life.
Yeah,
and we're not even aware of it.
I can't think of one where it hasn't touched.
Right.
Yeah.
It plays out. It plays out in our politics. It plays out in religious communities. It plays out in families.
In books and movies. Within friendships.
Yeah. And
okay, so how do we break this cycle?
Well, to mainly
be
awareness.
Mainly.
Okay.
Mainly it is.
You see it. Oh, I
yeah.
know what this is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play that.
It takes the fun out of it when you recognize, that they're playing the victim and I'm being sucked into playing the rescuer. As long as you can label that in your head, it begins slowly to take the juice out of the game.
Right. And in no way, shape, or form are we saying, don't help people.
Right. No. No.
But again, am I compelled to always, go into the rescue?
And am I doing something for them that they could do for themselves?
There you go.
Yeah.
There are people that could fix things themselves if they could exercise a little honesty with themselves.
Yes.
And sometimes maybe counselors can help them look at it in such a way that might reveal to them that, oh, wait, I'm doing this, and I probably don't need to do that way.
That'd be one of the ideas of going and spending a little time with a good counselor.
Yeah. And I mean, this starts so early and so innocently. I mean, we do it with our kids, and we don't even think anything of it. They're trying desperately to open a chip bag,
right?
And we just take it from them and open it,
right?
And even that small movement,
it is.
And we think it's helpful,
right?
But it unconsciously tells the kid,
"You can't do this.
I'm do that.
Yeah.
And
I
need
me.
a rescuer."
And that's because we get in a hurry.
Yep. Yeah.
So one of the things that I learned by our daughter went to the Montessori school for Shreveport.
Okay.
Good school.
Yep.
Yeah. One of the things that they encouraged at the Montessori school for Shreveport was let them do it.
Yep.
Now it's going to take longer.
Yep.
Yeah.
For them to do it, but forbear, be patient, let them do it.
That's one beautiful thing about the Montessori method is that the child comes along at their own pace.
A lot of times, and I've been guilty of this with my with young people.
Sure.
Jump in there and get it done.
Yeah.
Because
we got to go. We got to
go. We got to go
somewhere.
Yeah.
Bad idea. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Let them do it.
Because that's part of the process to not only learn but to learn that you can learn, and to
Mm.
learn that you are capable.
And to learn to struggle and to learn to sit with some discomfort.
Right.
And that's the piece where the parents and somebody else can help, is to be able to say, I'll sit here in the discomfort with you,
There you go.
and I'll be here with you.
There you go.
But I know you can do it.
Yeah.
What-
I think that one of the things we were talking about pain and suffering earlier, I think we live in a world that is painful, but I think suffering may be optional.
I
and
agree.
and again, I don't think we can get away from pain, but a lot of suffering is really equal to resistance. And this kind of feeds into what we're talking about here. I tell myself, oh, this should not be happening. Where, if I don't resist whatever it is that's happening, if I just accept, okay, this is happening, now what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I begin then to figure out, instead of looking around for,
It's easy to be a victim when a
Yeah.
lot of
Oh,
it's
sure.
Monday. Oh my gosh, what's going on?
Yeah.
It's all coming in. Oh, poor me.
I gotta
poor me.
look
Pour
look
me
for a
drink.
rescuer. Somebody take
this.
me away.
Take away this cup.
Calgon, take me away. We're talking about people to stay away from today, according to Carl Jung, one of I think all three of us. For all three of us, Dr. Jung is a hero.
Yes.
And so we're talking about that today here on Strategies for Living. We've got more of those folks that we need to stay away from as Strategies for Living rolls on. Stay with us. Be right back.
Facing the same old problems day to day makes you want a hard get away. Looking for the road that'll get me there. Looking for hope and peace to spare. Looking for strategies. Strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio.
Yeah, you found those strategies for living with Leon McMillan and Jay Murrell, David McMillan, talking about people that Carl Jung actually archetypes.
Thank you.
Types of people that Carl Jung would have said, hey, stay away from. Another type would be people who attribute others for their problems, the people who attribute others for their difficulties or problems. And then this is kind of
This
a
is a
close
variation
kin to the
victim.
last one we talked about.
Yeah.
It's a little louder, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit less self-aware, perhaps. Every failed job was because the boss had it out for them.
Right.
Boss after boss after boss. And they were all due to the other being, all of the failed relationships perhaps were due to, I just kept picking toxic relationships,
Always outside.
Yeah. And they don't just avoid responsibility. They seem to be allergic to responsibility.
Yeah. I didn't punch no doggy.
Yeah. And you try to suggest that, maybe they need to look in the mirror because maybe they're the common denominator for all
That
of
is
these
so
things.
hard
It is.
to do.
It is. Yeah, it is.
My life's a wreck. I don't understand. I'm not happy. My failed relationships. And I just tried and it just can't seem to connect with anybody.
Here's the deal. We all make mistakes. We all, we all mess up. That's just part of life, right?
Sure.
But if someone won't take responsibility,
There's not a lot of hope.
there really isn't.
No, you can't change anything if you're not willing to take up the power and be able to respond.
Yeah, and we've said this before, but responsibility, when you break down that word,
Right.
it really breaks down into the ability to respond. So whatever the issue, if I continue to accept my responsibility, then I've got power. You know, now it may not turn out the way every situation or circumstance, you know, may not turn out the way that, you know, that
But
I
there's hope.
envision it, but there's hope.
I
Right.
mean, that's the first step in any sort of pathway in a positive way forward, is to admit that, you know, look in the mirror and there's the problem.
Right.
That's hard. That's hard to do.
It is hard
The
to
older
do.
we get, the harder it is.
Yep. Yep.
Perhaps so, yeah. I mean, it's the idea that all of life that I live and experience through me. And so that's where it comes down to recognizing that, you know, it can't be anybody else out there, because anywhere I go, there I am.
Yeah.
It's the old finger pointing
Yeah.
rule. You know,
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah,
pointing a
pointing
finger
out, there's three of them pointing back
point
at
back.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
Eventually, I guess the pain gets so intense
Mm-hmm.
that a person becomes willing.
That's the hope.
That's
Yeah.
the hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, and again, that's part of, we were talking about the 12 steps. That's part of the whole deal. You know, the first step
Mhm.
is kind of a step
Admitting.
of surrender.
We
You
were
know,
powerless over fill in the blank.
Yeah.
My life was just a mess.
right. And so, you know, when you take that first step, it opens up a pathway.
Yeah.
It opens up a tremendous pathway that otherwise, I mean, I fight and I fight and I fight. And we were talking a second ago about suffering. That's the resistance, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the pain's going to come. Pain comes with life.
Right.
You know, life and pain are synonymous things. I mean, to live in this world
Is to have
and to live in a human body is
suffering.
is going to have pain
and pleasure.
but pain and pleasure.
Yeah.
And but if I deny that, okay, well, I'm not, you know,
If you
pain is
deny
not supposed to be
if you
mine.
deny either of those, if
Right.
you deny pain or pleasure,
then
it
I'm
results
going to
in
create
suffering.
You're out of
suffering.
balance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Balance.
Exactly.
Got to have balance.
Got to have it.
absolutely.
Got to have it. Another thing is individuals who I call this. We'll go with this. How about the Eddie Haskell archetype? And you know,
That might
Lauren,
go over
You're
some
getting-
people's
yeah.
heads.
yeah,
Well,
because
it went
it,
over
Hello,
mine.
Mrs. Cleaver.
that's it.
Isn't your hair nice today?
Eddie Haskell.
Okay.
If you ever watched Leave It to Beaver,
Yeah,
yeah,
I did.
and
as
the
a kid.
character Eddie Haskell was exactly what Jay is portraying.
Brown noser.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
it didn't
Yeah.
matter. These are individuals who are super polite to get what they want, to get what they desire. Now, you know, what we got to understand is there are nice people in the world, but not everybody that is smiling in your face and nice to you
They might
is
be
your friend.
it might be phony.
Yeah.
Inauthentic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Inauthentic. I
Mhm.
like that.
It's
That's
disingenuous and
Okay.
phony. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like them.
So, you know, what the truth kind of comes out
Of course
when
it does.
and if you say no to people who
Mm.
might ask for a little favor, you know,
they're
here
not
and
nice
there.
after that.
Yeah. And so then you may see the real,
Yeah.
you
The
know,
mask is off.
the mask is off. So
Yeah. And so I guess what that comes from is almost a place of entitlement. Like
Yeah.
you know,
No, it's just it's a method of manipulation
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
worked for them,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
and it doesn't work on some people,
Yeah.
and then they get a little grumpy.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think our world today is largely, you know, kind of based on this pseudo niceties, if you will.
Yeah, it's coming from a place of seeing life as an exchange.
Mm.
Transactional.
Transactional.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
the word, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah, transactional experience.
Yeah.
And
What am I getting out of this? Oh well, I need to do this, this, and this.
Yeah, and sometimes we, you know, life is about I'm just giving, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in life.
And to
And-
trust that you can replenish yourself in ways that, you know, sure, you can ask for help and it's important, but it's also important to be in a place where you know you can fill yourself up.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
You mean you get it from yourself and not from somebody else?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Boy, that'd be a good way to go around. Huh?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kingdom is within.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I like that. Is that new to y'all?
Not exactly.
No.
Not exactly. So, again, not saying that everybody that you meet that is kind is
Mhm.
like this, but
Right.
again, just be wary of someone who's always, always putting on the Eddie Haskell face. And,
It's pretty easy to spot after a while.
after a while, yeah.
Well, yeah, and
it
I
kind of
think
emerges.
It comes from a place of being able to trust your own insights.
Yeah.
Too, like, this doesn't feel
Yeah, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
quite authentic.
Yeah. Another category is people who bring you down and they don't even realize it.
Why do people do that, David?
Yeah. Well,
Well, likely because it's some internal. I don't feel good about myself.
I think that might.
That would be
that's
my
where I think.
hypothesis.
Yeah.
vampires are real, guys.
Mhm,
I
yeah.
mean, they don't suck our blood. That kind of vampire.
They suck our joy.
They suck our energy and our joy.
I mean, likely the way that most of the time, the way that we interact with others is a reflection of how we feel about ourselves.
Yeah. I'll go
And
with
how we treat ourselves
Yeah.
on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if somebody is constantly putting you down, right, and maybe even doesn't even realize it, that might be something to bring to their attention
Yeah.
so that they can look at themselves and see where they're putting themselves down.
be
Where's their
healthy.
inner self critic?
Is there somebody out there in your life who always plays the quote unquote devil's advocate to almost every one of your dreams? You know?
Yeah.
I might have encountered a person or two
Yeah.
on the life's journey.
I bet we all have. And a lot of times people don't even realize it, but they're chipping away at our confidence.
Mm.
I mean, some people just, I don't know, for whatever reason, they are full of questions. They ask
Well,
and
maybe.
they ask and they ask and they ask. And sometimes that can be, I don't know if anybody has that type of individual, have encountered that type of individual, but that individual can be exhausting, just absolutely exhausting. And it's like, okay, well, why do you expect, you obviously don't have the answer to this. Why do you expect that I have an answer to everything that you have a question for?
Mhm. Yeah.
And what about self-responsibility? What about, hey, I really want to know about that. I think I'll dive into that. I
Right.
think I'll go take a course. I think I'll go look it up on and do some research at the library
Yeah,
or on the
'cause-
internet.
'cause
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. In fact, it's important to stay curious.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
There's a difference between curiosity and cynicism.
Okay, talk about
Well,
that a little
cynicism, you could say, is a form of devil's advocacy,
bit. Right.
in that you tend to look for, you always pick
Mm.
the what could go wrong here,
Yeah.
or why it is wrong, instead of looking what's right about it.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
And there are skeptics that they're not horrible people. It's a little bit of skepticism is a good thing, but
Sure.
Yeah.
You
if that's
said
the way you live your life and everything, you're just
you said the
Prove
word. You said the word a moment ago, and the word is balance.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's-
Thank you.
It's
You saved myself. From me.
it's very good. It's very good to be able to ask yourself or someone that you care about the important questions. Have you thought about this or have you thought about that? But at the same time,
Yeah, that's pretty healthy, actually.
at the same time, balance that with a pretty healthy dose of encouragement.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah. We're talking about types of folks, kind of archetypes, if you will, that Carl Jung said, you may want to stay away from these types of individuals. Talking about that today here on Strategies for Living with Lauren and Jay. And we'll be back. More to come, more to learn. Stay with us.
Tune in daily, find the light. Healthy mind and spirits bright. Strategies for living strong. Feel the vibe, it won't go wrong. Body moves and soul align. Catch the rhythm, feel the time. Radio rehab every day. Chase those clouds of gray away. Your daily dose of radio rehab. Lift you up when skies seem trapped. Mind and body, spirits free. Living life in harmony.
And welcome back in. Welcome back into Strategies for Living with Lauren Leon McMillan, Jay Murrell, David McMillan. Talking today, discussing around the round. We actually do discuss around a round table, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Quite
It is
literally, yeah.
quite round.
It's a, yeah.
Where's Arthur?
Yeah. Well, we're actually he's down here.
Oh, there he is.
He's down here sleeping with his bone on. He's laying on his bone to
The
protect
puppy.
it from
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay.
Yeah.
Our producer
The
Pocket.
sword and the
Yeah.
bone.
Yeah.
Not the sword
Pocket
and
the
stone,
producer.
huh?
Yep.
So we're talking about Carl Jung and his, admonition to all of us about making the unconscious conscious. If we don't work at that, then things will happen to us, and we'll label it as fate, as opposed to saying, what's
What can
my
I do?
level
Yeah.
of responsibility?
part in
in it?
this?
What's my part in this? Yeah, and here's the deal. We always, if we're participating in whatever, we always have some part in it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there are situations, I'm thinking about children, there are situations that we are in where we kind of, for a period of time, we may not have a whole lot of choice, right? But we have a choice as life moves forward.
Right.
We have a choice of whether to stay in certain relationships or distance ourselves from those relationships. We certainly have a choice about forgiveness
Yes.
and forgiving those relationships.
Mhm.
Remember that forgiving a relationship doesn't mean that you still hang out with them.
No.
Forgiving-
It doesn't even mean that it was okay.
And no, it doesn't mean that at all.
Yeah.
It means that I want to put it down for me. It's healthy for me
Mhm.
to go ahead and put this down, right?
Right.
So another area are people who act morally superior to you.
I like when
And
he says that.
these people, a lot of times, people act morally superior to us in order to control us.
Mm.
And we've all met.
And it's a
We've all met
it's
these
a
people.
defense.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely.
How dare you question me? Don't you know?
Yep. Many times these people are so unsure on the inside,
Right.
but they've got this,
Well, and that's
this-
the protector that's showing.
Right.
The protector that's showing is there's a right way, and I am so sure about it. Then that's protecting them from the part of themselves that is so unsure and so uncertain.
So a lot of times, what you will find is these people will weaponize guilt,
Mhm.
and they weaponize guilt to get their way, right?
Okay.
These people don't apologize. Let me educate you. I'm not going to, there's no apology, but let me tell you, let me instruct you, let me educate you about
Yeah.
what you don't know. There's the moral superiority, right?
Right.
Uh,
This one can actually be even more, I think, a little more insidious than that, even. And I've seen it not just in religious circles, but in even people who claim to be spiritual but not religious.
right?
This can creep up, and I kind of call it's a form of spiritual ego.
Mm.
That's kind of the way I've decided to look at it, and it can creep up.
Spiritual ego, huh?
Yeah, because
How are you going to learn anything if you think you already got all the answers?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Great
You know?
point, Jay. Great point.
I know everything. The science is settled. Oh, what a stupid thing to say.
Right.
Science is never settled. That's,
The nature of science
that's
is
the
it's a
nature of
process.
science.
Right.
Yes.
And if you
Yeah.
if you come from a place that science has already settled this, well, you probably then need to go back and reinform yourself about what
What
science is.
science is supposed
Yeah,
to be.
what it's
Yeah.
supposed to be, and Because if I come at it from science has settled then I've made science a religion, and that's not,
that won't work.
Won't work.
You're seeing a lot of this in political debate, and it's designed to shut down discussion.
Yep. Yep.
Don't bother me with any of your arguments because you're wrong and I'm right, and there's no point in. And so that's all. That's really unfortunate.
Yep.
Well, it's hard to have conversation with folks like that.
Well, it's not possible.
Yeah, right.
And so
when they've
people
already made up their
put up
mind.
walls and.
Yeah, these folks aren't seeking better behavior; they're just seeking obedience.
And rules.
And rules.
Structure.
Yeah, structure and rules. And so you make me uncomfortable when you don't follow
my
rules,
yeah.
right? And so there's the moral superiority. And then, last but not least, there are people who try to control all areas of your life. You may not even notice this at first, because these people seem very helpful. They seem very interested, but the advice that they give oftentimes become expectations, right? So they judge what you wear, what you eat, what you post, who you talk to, who your friends are. They ask for updates just to be in the loop, if you will.
Right.
It's stifling.
They say they want to help you make better decisions.
This is kind of a cousin to that moral superiority, isn't it?
Yeah. And with this type of individual, you end up not feeling safer with them. You end up feeling smaller with them, right? Because you get into you kind of get into this almost making them a pseudo parent, if you will.
Right.
And making yourself a pseudo child.
Yeah, and if you don't fit in that box, that the pseudo parent has decided you need to belong in, well, then who are you and what are you doing?
Jung was a big believer in facing our shadow side, and that was imperative if we were to achieve genuine growth and development. And so this, we in our world today, guys, we want the easy way, right? Give me the pill, give me the quick fix, and sometimes that's worrisome.
Yeah,
It leads to its own difficulties, to not face your shadow or your reality or what's going on. And
right.
It's still there.
And you begin to
it's not going to go away.
Use it as a weapon against others, and you don't even realize it.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing by not facing that is I'm making it, I'm shoving it down further. So I'm making it not more conscious, as Jung wanted us to do, but I'm shoving it down, making it actually more unconscious, if you will.
It'll start seeping out that basement.
Yeah, and when it comes out, it can come out in all kinds of different ways. It can come out.
It's not pretty.
No. And that can express emotionally, psychologically, physically in relationships, and all about. Talking about what Dr. Jung told us to stay away from today, the archetypes, if you will, that he said to stay away from. Talking about that today on Strategies. Be right back. And welcome back into Strategies for Living. Leon McMillan and Jay Murrell, David McMillan here. We've been talking about Carl Jung's warning that we need to work on making the unconscious conscious, because if we don't make the unconscious conscious, if we're not working at that, then things will happen to us, and we'll call it fate.
Right.
And we'll probably be looking around to blame a lot of other people in our lives. So, guys, what are the takeaways from our conversation today?
He's pointing at me. Just like I love the Jung quote. you got to make the unconscious conscious, or
Yeah.
you'll call it fate.
Yeah.
And so it's just about taking a look at yourself and coming to awareness. And if you recognize these traits in other people, do your best to protect yourself in whatever way you need. But then also, if you see them in other people, do a quick reflection in yourself.
Yeah. Could this be happening
And-
also within me?
Right. Could it be happening within me? And how am I responding to it?
Mm.
Because it might not be that, just because I witnessed somebody acting in this moral superior way, that I too have some moral superiority in me. That could be the case.
Yeah.
But it could also be the case that I've got maybe a reflection of an inner child that is seeking someone with moral superiority.
Maybe they're reflecting a darker side of ourselves.
Yeah.
Maybe,
And so,
maybe.
again, in any case, it's an indication of we have work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kingdom is within.
There you go.
Their kingdom is within. I like that.
Jay, thank you. Lauren, thank you.
Thank you.
Folks, thank you for being a part of Strategies for Living. We do this for you, and we can do it because of our wonderful sponsors, the Robinson Film Center, and Azalea Cleaners, and Pintail Roofing,
Roof.
and Learning RX, and the Balanced Life Wellness Center. And Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of the Godfather, alligator Italian sausage, and some pretty good muffies too. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call? What would you say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Jay Murrell, for Lauren Leon McMillan, I'm David McMillan. See you next time right here on Strategies for Living.